Do you want to learn how to paint this pretty girl? She's easier than you think. Let's get started. Hi guys, so today we are going to do this pretty little girl holding flowers. She's a young woman, you know, depends on the back of the dress. Make it up higher, you could make it into a little girl. Shorten her body a little bit. You know, you could make this a pretty little flower girl card, bridesmaids card, wedding shower card, a gift just for someone who wants to feel special and feel pretty. Change the color of the hair up. Change the color of the skin up. Change the size of the body. You're going to be the one in control. I'm going to show you really quick how to do this. I am working with the Hanamule watercolor cards. They come in this really cool tin. These are 100% cotton. I think they're 110-pound paper. So they work just fine for watercolor and to be able to paint on them and send them away. I'm going to be painting. I made myself my own little watercolor kit out of the Daniel Smith mixing set, which actually comes with the little tubes in this plastic box. I had some half pans around, so I squeezed those colors in, and then I put a gouache in here and a couple extra colors. The mixing set comes with 6 colors. It's your warm and cool red, warm and cool yellow, and warm and cool blue. Everything else I added in here. I've got my kneaded eraser, a pen. This is a waterproof ink pen, and it's the .28 is the tip. It's very fine roller ball. I'm going to paint the whole thing in with this number 8 Round Though Squirrel by Zenart. Emotional support eraser at the ready. It's the thing I sit here and clutch while I'm drawing. I am looking at this little drawing here and figuring out the size of her head. I'm going to base everything else off the size of her head. Her neck is about 1/3 the size of her head, so I'm going to come down about 1/3. I'm giving her a long neck. Her shoulders are going to, and those are basically like parentheses, sort of scoop in. All right. Her shoulders, her neck is attached to the shoulders. You know, there's a collarbone in there and all of that. So I'm going to basically, the size of her head, of the width of her head is actually about the size of her shoulders here. I don't know if that's true in real drawing of people case, but you know what? In this, that's what I'm doing. I'm saying that her torso is about 2 heads high. So if I say it's about, her head is about that silver bit. So I'm going to say 1, 2. Right there. Now, this is where you can make your decision on, is she a fuller figured girl? You can give her a little bit more width here. I would also pull her shoulders out a little bit. Now, her head looks small right now. That's only because we don't have the hair on. But I want her, I like the look, even though I'm not, you know, it's not representing me per se. I like the look of the nipped in waist a little bit more. And actually, I do have a bit of a nipped in waist. I'm just not quite that small anymore. I used to be. Now, where her waist is here, that's where her elbow is going to come down to. So I'm going to come out from the waist just like this and say, that's her elbow. And we're going to come down like this. We're tapering in. And then we're going to come out. Not quite as long. The from the shoulder to the elbow is a little bit longer than from the elbow to the wrist. And then we're going to have like a little box with a triangle on it or a little rectangle on it. That's going to be where her flowers will be in her hand. I'm going to give her other arm is coming down, and I'm not seeing any more of her arm because it's actually going to be, oops, need to give her a little bit of shape to that arm. It's not, these are not straight lines. Okay. I'm going to say that she's got a deep V back, her bodice. I'm going to give a little bit more airspace right in there. We're laying the groundwork for where all the prettiness of her dress is going to go. Maybe thin her arm down. But see, I don't have to do all of the details right now. I want to thin her forearm down though a little bit. You see how easy that went? And then her dress, her skirt, we're just going to give some indications here. Oops, probably a little bit more rounded indication. Just a few little lines. Take out some of those lines. To draw her hair in really quick, and it's basically just going to be, it's going to halo around that circle, coming across the neck, giving a curl. Now, the watercolor is going to do its thing. Her hair is going to end up doing whatever it does, but I'm giving just an idea of where her hair is going to be. I like a few little wispy hairs coming out. I'm going to give her slimmer head down just a smidge because I do want to put a little hair ring on, or a little flower ring on her hair. It makes more sense as soon as you erase the outline of her skull. So let's just get the outline of her skull out. We've got the little flower ring for her hair. You know, just like that old song. If you go to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. And I'm going to say that her forearm comes down here. Maybe I'll poof up her skirt a little bit. That's what I'll do. I'm going to poof her skirt up. Shorten her waist just a smidge. By drawing lightly with your pencil, you will have a much, much happier time when you go to erase lines. Now, your straps can be as skinny as you want them to be. I'm saying that she's got some coverage on her straps. Her shoulders have a little bit of coverage. There's a tiny little, you know, that where your shoulder blades come together. She's got a little bit of that showing. I'm going to take out that little line right there. And then we're going to throw some pen on it. And then do the watercolor. Ah, there we go. See? Give her some. There we are. Just toss a little bit of some leaves and flowers here. I say she's a bridesmaid. And the bridesmaids are carrying a small bouquet of tulips. You could make this the bride. You could give her a white, you know, make her dress white. Just give her some little bit of shadow. Make it look satiny. I'm saying that this one has some of those flowers going down the back, you know, the bustle of flowers. Always fun. And look at that, they're just circles. And I'm not even worried about drawing in any other lines. I think that's enough. Let's say that those stems are all wrapped. There's a bit of a bow. And she does have a bit of some ribbon blowing in the wind. Look at that. We're going to ink this in really quick, and I'll be right back. We're going to go in with some paint and just a number 8 paintbrush. Let's see here. I'm going to go in and get her hair wet. I am going to grab some of this quinacridone. Look at that. This is quinacridone sienna. It's a very orangey color. So I'm going to take just a touch of the sepia and add to it. See how I'm getting sort of my progression of colors here. And then I'm going to take a touch of New Gamboge. Ooh, that's looking good. I think I'm going to go in with the New Gamboge that has all the colors in it that were on my brush. Just dab, dab, dab into that wet paint, or into the wet water. Is there such a thing as dry water? Is that just air? Look at that. We're just tapping that in. I'm going to pick up some of this other color. There we go. So that's my first layer, kind of my highlight layer. So I'm going to let that start to just sort of chill out there a little bit. I'm going to add just a touch of some quinacridone rose to that hair color, and that is going to become my base color for my skin. More water. She's very fair-skinned. I'm very fair-skinned. You tend to paint the color of skin you are, and I don't have enough experience yet painting lots of different skin tones. It's going to help me with my shadows and highlights. Now I just mixed up a slightly darker tone. I'm going to put right along this edge. where her dress is. Come down onto her elbows, out here on her knuckles, maybe along the edge of her thumb. Now, right now, it looks like she has a skin condition. I'm just going to get that wet and dry it off just a smidge. When you're working small, you know, a single thing that you do could make it look really odd. So be willing to adjust. Oh, that's looking good. All right, I'm going to take a little bit more of that, drop it, that darker tone. Still want the darker tone. I just need to have more water on the paper when I use it. All right, and now this shoulder over here is going to be put in pretty much with the darker tone. I'm going to leave a little bit of light right around the edge. Maybe grab a touch of some yellow. A little bit more those darker tones. The quinacridone rose, sepia, and quinacridone sienna. So now there's a bit of a shadow coming down her back. That's a very strong line. Nice thing about it, you can add water and move it around. There's going to be more of a shadow. I'm just picking up some of that water. More of a shadow right up underneath of her hair. You don't want the cauliflowers. You don't want the extra water creating that patchy skin look. Or that fuzzy. You don't really want fuzzies in this. Now a little bit darker right up here, right up under the hair. Just grab a little bit of that sienna or sepia. Just a little bit of straight sepia right up there under. Maybe a little bit down here and back of the arm, in the crease, under the hand. Just a touch. You don't want too much. There is black in the sienna or sepia. There is black in the sepia. So you want to be kind of careful with that. You don't want to deaden your colors out. Oh, that's looking pretty. So now I'm going to take more of that warm quinacridone with a touch of that sepia, and we're just going to give her a few little shadowy bits. Kind of right around where her little flower ring is. Coming down. I want a little bit more reddish tone to her highlights or her lowlights. Maybe it's the lowlights. There we go. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. So just play with it and figure out what it is you want. That's very pretty. So now I'm going to put a little bit of that wisp, maybe a little bit more of the reddish tone, coming down her back. Again, not worried about it being perfect. This is a quick card. Yeah. I'm going to come down and actually start working on the dress. And her dress is going to be, I'm going to make her dress be this pretty phthalo blue. I like that. So, phthalo blue. And phthalo blue is a strong color, so I'm watering it down a lot. A lot. And make sure that any of these drips that you have around the ferrule, you wipe them off or they'll drop on your painting. I'm going to come up here and at her shoulders where it's going to be darker. And just sort of flow down. Now, it's super warm and super dry here right now. So this, I think, is going to be fine. Working so close to the wet paper that there we go. Just flow down. Ah, so pretty. All right. And then right here, we're just going to take the side of the brush. Let it sort of dry brush out and away. Oh, looks like we're getting a bit of a poof of her dress going up in front. Maybe we'll poof it out on this side too. A little bit darker, kind of around where some of these flowers are, and maybe in a couple of the folds. Look how much variation we're getting to this color though. Oh, so pretty. I'm going to grab a little bit thicker. A little bit thicker means a little less water. I'm going to go ahead and make her ribbon on her flowers and the ribbons on her hair. Not worried about being perfect, not worried about following the lines exactly. That just makes it feel so much prettier. Going to work those down around a little bit. Not too fussy. The flowers are going to be very, very abstract. Now I am going to take some of that quinacridone orange with that little bit of blue that was in my brush, and look at that, I've got this lovely kind of neutral gray. So I can go in and kind of smooth out, make it look like she's got a shadow that's got some color from the dress. I'm going to put a little bit of that gray in here. Because what it does is it makes the dress feel a little bit more dimensional. Up around the top bit. And now I am going to blast this really quick with the dryer. And we're going to go in with the quinacridone rose. And I think, ooh, that quinacridone rose with a little bit of phthalo blue makes this lovely kind of cool purple. So there we go. And I'm going to just, wipe the water off the ferrule. Leave some white for the sparkle in your flowers. Look at that. It doesn't take much to make a flower look like a flower on the back of a dress as the bustle. Basically, you're making like a couple letter C's that are going around each other. And then maybe a few little buds. Some little little spray that's kind of maybe working its way up the back of the dress. Oh, that's pretty. Play with it. Experiment. Maybe this is little sparkles that are working their way up the back of her dress. Who knows? Maybe they work their way all the way around the front. Maybe they're little mermaid scales. I am going to grab a touch of the sap green and a bit of the new gamboge, because the new gamboge with the sap green makes it kind of olive. So then you have two colors of green. I'm going to put just a few little spots. A few little spots of green. Maybe a few coming up the back. Tuck them in, grabbing some of that green that had the gamboge. Putting that up here on the tulips and the leaves for the tulips. And maybe flicking a few little stems. A few little stems out. Ooh, I forgot the bottom ribbon. Touch that. Again, not worried if it changes color a little bit. It's okay. Maybe a touch of that, ooh, dark, into some of the water on the ribbons. I like that. A little bit of that darker, ooh, that was a little too much dark right there. Now, phthalo blue is a staining color. So once you've got phthalo blue down on the paper, you've got to just make it work. So just make it work. I'm just making it work. Just draw it out a little bit. There we go. She's got a real floofy ribbon bit. In her hair, I'm not even matching up to those dots so much. Oh, look at that. I've got some splashes on my paper. I'm probably going to end up having to put some splashes in here. It's okay. Oh, this is looking so sweet though. I think I am going to take a little bit of that blue and drop a little bit of blue. Some of that green is still wet, so that's cool. I'm kind of putting some of that blue in for some deeper shadows. Easy peasy. You can do this as quickly or as slowly as you wish. I am actually going to grab this yellow, and I'm going to put some little dots of yellow. I'm thinking maybe it's tulips and buttercups in her bouquet. That's going to be pretty. And then we are going to use the quinacridone rose again, but this time it's just going to be the quinacridone rose, and I'm not going to do it with any of the blue. U. Just put a U in. Leave a little space. Look at that. Boom! All those tulips are done. If you want to, you can put a little bit more rounded out at the top. We need a touch of that sap green, the base of these flowers. Boom, just like that. and then pull it down into the stem. Pretty, pretty, pretty. All right. A little bit of that straight sap green, or sap green neat. Neat meaning no water added, or very little water. A little bit of water coming out of the brush, but I haven't picked up any more water. I'm going to go like this and put some little green bits. Just sort of sticking out a little bit here and there. Dry it real quick. I'm just going to glaze. Ha, there we go. Look at how that just worked, hey? Look at that. A little bit more shadow right under here. Shadow along the flowers. Under the ribbon. So sweet. Let's sign it. And, oh yeah, I was going to do a quick little splatter. I think we'll do little splatter. And if you don't like it on her, you gotta get it off quick. Ah. There we go. Phew. Actually, I don't mind it down on her skirt. Maybe we'll put a little bit of the pink splatter on her skirt. There we go. Take the tape off. And there we go. Isn't she sweet? Love her. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked her, please make sure and click that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and be sure to check out the other videos that I'm going to do of some pretty girls in pretty dresses. See you soon. Bye-bye.